the end of what he said than even at the beginning, because that's exactly how the economy, or when they teach you about the economy, is meant to confuse you, so that you can go to those so-called experts to get the understanding of it. But when you understand the very principles of it, you can see right through it, to where you won't get caught up in all of those, economic terms. You'll be able to see right through it. And the bottom line is, what is the currency and what is the currency backed by? That determines whether it's real currency or not. Not, all of these other technological economic terms that confuse a person more than edify them. And that's what these devils want. They want the people confused so they can get them, in that web, so that they won't be able to get out of that web. Because by the time they realize that they're entangled in that web. And this is why even, these devils, the way they do it, look at the back of a dollar bill. Watch this. Let's see if we can get a nice one. I want to get a nice one. You could kind of see this one. Let me see something. You could kind of see, let's see if they can get another one that's a little more clear. Let's see if this will be clearer. It's a little darker, maybe it might be a little clearer. Let me try another one. Just bear with me 1 second. It's just something I want to show you here. Yeah, this one looks a little better. Now, if you look at this, right? If you look around here, behind all of the writing, all of these are nothing more than cobwebs. See all these cobwebs? What does a web do? It traps the prey. So this monetary system traps the people. And what happens when you get entangled in a web? It's hard to get out of the web if you don't have the necessary oil to glide through it, like the spider does, which Elder Apostle Kabar used to go into it a lot. He used to go into the fact that the reason why the spider doesn't get caught up in the web is because it has oil that secretes out of its tentacles, and it allows it to glide over while everything else gets caught up in it, and it's very sticky. And that's what the dollars are like. So here you have this so-called Italian horn, Satan's horn, that is used to say that you trust Satan for your finances. So there's a lot of hidden meanings in this dollar bill, which shows you that it's demonic. And these devils are not going to tell you, not going to break it down for you, because that's just not what they do. Now, years ago, I'm not sure if it was the front of the dollar bill. Let's see. It may have been the front of the dollar bill. I'm trying to see if I can get a good picture. Let's see. It might be this one. The front of the dollar bill. If you look here closely, see. Look here closely. In the right-hand corner of the front of the dollar bill, if you look right there, that is an owl. Right there, that little corner right there. If you get a dollar bill, you can put a magnifying glass to it, you'll see that's an owl in that little corner right there. With the Rothschild shield. And more cobwebs, So there, it's a lot of hidden messages in here. It's a talisman used for the purpose of, putting a spell on these people, to get them caught up, in this web of debt, talisman, an object, typically an inscribed ring or stone that is thought to have magic powers and to bring good luck. And that's what the dollar is like. It's a so-called, it's a talisman, that has magic powers, but the magic powers work against the person that uses it. So let's go to James 5:1. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Right, because when you go to the word rich men, you have something called a plutocracy. Plutocracy is a rule by the rich. Goes back to the word plusios or plutos. Right there, plutos, which basically means riches, wealthy, abounding material resources, metaphorically abounding, abundantly supplied. And how did they become rich? Through the lending of money, and their biggest cash cow was America. This is how, the bankers became rich, and this is how the merchants of the world became rich. Revelation 18:3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of the fornication, of a fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So let's look up merchants and poros, proteo. Abundance is dynamis, and delicacies is the word strenos. Excessive strength, which longs to break forth, overstrength, luxury, eager desire. So through the luxury and the delicate living, and the right here voluptuousness of this place, the nations, the kings, the merchants, and the international bankers became rich. So the Lord is telling you, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Why? Because you're going to lose that status that you have. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. Right? The way that you got it is going to be a witness against you. This is why now you're fighting valiantly to try to remove all of the shameful history that shows how you got your wealth, shows you how you got this land, shows you how you became so-called great. So that's why you're tirelessly, pressuring these rangers and these different organizations to remove all of the shameful history, all of your shameful history that puts you in the demonic light that you belong in. And shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have reaped treasures together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers, and this is where the effect of this fiat currency and the debt hits the laborers, the workers, the poor. It says, "We have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud." Right, and you use fraud because you never told them how the money system works. You never told them what that money was. You never told them how, when they went to go get a loan, you don't have all of that money at hand. All you have to do is have to have 10% of that money, and you can lend up to 100%, which is called fractional reserve banking. You never explained all of this stuff, so you're creating the other 90% out of thin air and charging them exorbitant interest to pay back off of nothing, thin air, fraud. The word that aposterejo almost sounds like apostasy, right? It says to defraud, rob, despoil, and over here it says to deprive. So you're depriving the people of real value because you're giving them money that's not money for their wages, for their labor. Their labor costs. What you're giving them doesn't cost. This is why they're constantly chasing that no money for their labor so that they can live, so that they can try to keep up. And they don't understand how the economy works. So it says, crieth, because the people are crying. Jake is crying. The workers are crying. just like they cried in Egypt. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, and the Lord is going to act on these things. You have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanted. See? So you lived in pleasure and you've also been undisciplined. You know, that's why it says, you know, you're careless living. You lived carelessly. But now the chickens are coming home to roost. Everything that you've done in the past and the way that you've gotten your riches is being a witness against you right now. And you're about to be brought down through this fraudulent system that you established, you know, for world currency. And now you're pushing to get rid of this old system to bring in a new system, which is going to be even more demonic, which is the MOTB, which is the microchip. You have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter, yeah, because you have more than heart could wish. Just like when you have a feast, that you have people can eat, you know, till they throw up. There's more food than you know what to do with. It says you have condemned and killed the just, and he does not resist you. Why? Because we don't have that. We don't have any power except for Yahawah Bashem Yahushai. And when you go to do your thing that you're doing in all these different countries and on these so-called immigrants to the elect of the Lord, Yahawah Bashem Yahushai, that's when the Lord is going to raise up against you. And you're going to have to fall back, sucker. You know, so with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Barak Yahawah Bashem Yahushai,